Hello, students, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, the topic of study is interest rate parity, which is one of the theory of an exchange rate. Before we discuss more onto IRP, it is important to understand that what is exchange rate theories. So, any exchange rate theories explains the factors of exchange rate movement and their behavior in the foreign exchange market. So here in the triangle, you can see right at the top vertex, we have the expected spot rate, and right at the two baseline of a triangle, we can see inflation rate and interest rate, right? So when any spot rate of foreign exchange is being determined on the basis of the inflation rate, that theory is known as purchasing power parity theory, that is triple P. When any exchange rate is determined on the basis of the interest rate between two countries, that theory is known as interest rate parity theory. And when the exchange rate is being determined on the basis of the inflation rate as well as on the basis of the interest rate, that theory is known as international Fisher effect. So today we are going to discuss about the interest rate parity and what is this interest rate parity, how do we do that, what is a derivation. Before we discuss more onto it, it is important to understand what is covered interest arbitrage. So covered interest arbitrage is basically one of the strategy used by investors where they try to exploit that what is the difference between the interest rate of two different currencies, and they are at the same time hedge their position in a derivatives instrument. However, in contrast to this, there is another one which is UIRP, which is basically uncovered interest rate. So, what happens in this uncovered interest rate parity, that it does not involve the use of an forward contract to hedge against the exchange rate risk. So, covered interest arbitrage is what is the focus today in this session. And before we discuss more onto it, it is important, and I would also suggest you to please align yourself as to the concept when I am discussing. If you're just missing out the thread somewhere, it is advisable to go back and scroll back onto the videos to keep a proper alignment. Okay, so here's an interest rate parity, and what is this theory all about? So it's the theory says that exchange rate is determined on the basis of the interest rate between two countries is known as IRP. And here we can see that the two country are India and United States. The rate of interest in India is 10%, rate of interest in United States is 6%. And if I ask that which country is good to invest, then we will say there are a number of the factors that should I invest in India or should I invest in US depend upon many factors because there is no common currency. So in United States it's US dollars, in India it's in Indian rupees, and therefore if I just on a generic note, if I ask that which country is good to invest, you may have a number of the factors coming to your mind right now. But if we focus only on the interest rate parity, you will get your answer in one line. What does it mean? It says that wherever the rate of interest is low, that currency is going to go strong in the future. So just by looking at the rate, I found that in United States it's 6%, interest rate is low. As per IRP, United States dollars, US dollars will be strong in future, and therefore it is good to invest in United States, right? In just one generic line. Now this whole concept, which I summarized in one line, you have to prove that with the help of one storyline. And that is what the storyline that I have planned for you guys today. Okay, so in order to make you understand the concept behind the interest rate parity, I have few examples for you. In order to make you understand the concept of interest rate parity, I'm going to assume few numbers and some countries, and I'm going to carry forward the same example which just now I have discussed. So there is a country, India, the rate of interest there as 10%. There is another country, United States, the interest rate there is 6%. And let's see that what is the today's spot rate. So today's spot rate is somewhere around about 80 rupees per dollars. Now, as an investor, I have an option. So, as an Indian investor, so let's understand this concept from an Indian investor's point of view. So, there is an Indian investor, and that Indian investor may have some amount of money to invest. And let's assume that amount of money as 100,000, or in Indian denomination 1 lakh Indian rupees. So, an Indian institution or an Indian investor say have 1 lakh Indian rupees. They have two options. So, first option is to invest in India. If they're going to invest in India, then it's outright like 100,000 invested at the rate of 10% will give you this future value of 110,000 or 1 lakh 10,000 Indian rupees that an investor is going to get after 1 year if he invests in India. That's the first option. Or there can be a second option that he may invest the same amount of money in United States, but in order to invest in United States, he needs dollars. Therefore, he has again two options. So what are those two options? So in order to invest in United States, he has first option. The first option that if you already have money, that is 1 lakh Indian rupees, it is better he get it converted into dollars. This is the first option which he is doing. So say suppose he is going with this first option. So this means 1 lakh Indian rupees, and at the rate, the spot rate is 80. So it will eventually turn into be $1,250. If we go with the second option is that he is going to borrow money from Indian banks, right? So he is borrowing money from Indian bank 100,000, and after 1 year, how much money that he is supposed to pay to bank, which is 110,000. I believe you got my point that how do he got this 100,000. So it is basically this for 1 year, right? And then eventually he may get the same thing converted into an Indian rupees. So today he is borrowing 100,000 Indian rupees divided by 80, that will be 1250. What is this 1250? This is dollars. So he has two options, whichever he is fond of, he can go with that. So hope you understood this part of it, that what as an Indian investor is doing. First option, invest in India, enjoy 110,000 after 1 year. Second option, borrow money from Indian bank today and invest that money in United States. So let's see if he's going to invest that money in United States, what will happen. So here with that 1250, he will invest in United States. The rate of return is 6% there. So it eventually after 1 year it will be $1,325. This is for sure that here he is going to get $1,325 after 1 year in United States. Now if I ask what is the problem? The problem is this, that he know that what is the total amount of money that he is going to receive from United States, but what he is not very sure about it, that what will be the spot rate at that period of time, what will be the spot rate after 1 year. Therefore he wanted to cover this exposure, and in order to cover this exposure, today only he is entering into a forward rate. So he went to a bank and asked the bank that, look, in future after 1 year I'm going to bring $1,325 to you. You tell me which is that rate at which you are ready to convert my money today. Okay, so today he is basically locking up the price for future. So the one of the bank he has eventually got, and the bank said that I'm going to give you an FR, that is forward rate of 81 rupee per dollar. So come to me after 1 year, bring your 1325, I will give you 1325 multiplied by 81, whatsoever amount that is going to come to you in Indian rupees, I will give that to you. And eventually, this is what has happened. So after 1 year, let me just erase some of these information here. Okay, so I have erased that annotations. So now we are very sure that the Indian investor in United States will get $1,325, and he has also logged himself with 81 forward rate. So this is for sure that he is going to get $1,325, and this is also very sure that that dollar will be multiplied by the exchange rate, that is the forward rate, which is already decided today because it's a forward rate. That he has already logged with a bank. So for sure that he is going to get 107,325. So this means 1,707,325 Indian rupees is definitely going to come his way. But now, if I ask you that is it good to invest in India or United States, so you're going to compare the end a final amount that will be coming your way. So if I don't do anything and invest in India, I'm going to get 110,000. But if I just route my money to United States by doing a lot of conversion therein, the total money that will come to me is 107,325 Indian rupees. Therefore, moving from India to United States, it's not advisable. And what you have said, you went to a bank and you said that bank, the rate that you have given me, the forward rate that you have given me, it's not correct. Because it is not correct, it is promoting the arbitrage. And how does this arbitrage will happen? That is what we are going to see. So if even if I just say that, think about it, in India I'm going to get 110,000 after 1 year. And again, in Indian rupees, say INR, I'll just write, I'm going to get 107,325. Is it good to go? No. You will say that no, it is not advisable to move your money from India to United States, because at the end of the day, it is not even equal or more than your Indian amount of money that I'm getting in India. But think about it, is the other way around is possible? How about if people start investing from United States to India, what will happen? And that is the reason the whole problem lies with your FR, that is forward rate, which is not correct. Now let's think about it, that this is from India to United States. Now in the next slide, we are going to discuss about how about if the investment start moving from United States to India. So that's a revision that the bank have to do. So in next, you can see that it's the same question we are carry forwarding. So the first one is India, 10%. Second one is United States, 6%. Spot rate is 80. Spot rate after 1 year, what we have going to decide now. So here we can see that United States. Now what we are doing, we are moving money from United States to India. So what the US investor will do? The first one, he will borrow money from American banks. How much amount of money does he need? He needs 1250. From where are we getting this 1250? It's the same thing, that 100,000 Indian rupees at the current spot rate. This will eventually turn into 1250. So what he has done, he has borrowed 1250. At what rate he has borrowed? 6%, because this is US and this is India. So at what rate he has borrowed? He has borrowed at 6% for 1 year. He got $1250. He converted, he eventually got 100,000. And what he is supposed to do after 1 year, he has to pay back to a bank 1325. Why? Because he has borrowed. He has borrowed 1250 at the rate of 6%. So he is supposed to pay back to his American bank after 1 year 1325 dollars, right? So this means he is very sure about it that it is going to get this way. So now what he has done, he has got the money converted, took money to India and has invested there. What was the rate of interest in India? 10%. So he know that after 1 year he is going to receive 110,000. Now what the problem is this, that if he is not going to cover himself for future, then it's just a simple question of uncovered interest rate. But he is covering. So that by the time he is borrowing from American bank and he's getting 1250, he's converting into 100,000 Indian rupees. At the same time, he has also entered into a derivative with a bank by saying that give me a forward rate after 1 year. After 1 year, I'm going to bring 110,000 Indian rupees. So 1,10,000 Indian rupees I'm going to bring. Tell me at what rate you will convert my rupee into dollars. So the bank has agreed at this rate, 81 for $1. Think about it. After 1 year, how much money he got? 110,000. He brought the money back, 110,000 divided by 81. So how much money he has got? He has got 1358.02. How much money is he supposed to pay back to the bank? This is a, he has to pay back to bank. So he's supposed to pay only 1325, and you can see that the riskless profit that he is going to get here will be 33.02. That's his riskless profit. He's not taking any risk. He's just detouring his money from one country to another. Now think about it. If he can do it, many others can do it. And because of this, what will happen? Every US investor will start doing this, and US dollar demand will increase. And in this way, it will become stronger. And that is what the final basically the concept of IRP. So IRP say that wherever whichever currency interest rate is low, that currency will be strong in future, and that is what we are proving it conceptually. So basically, what IRP boils down to, that what was the problem in the example what we have discussed? The problem was a forward rate. It was a problem in a forward rate because it was promoting an arbitrage. So what do IRP say? IRP say that forward rate, which means the rate should be such so that no matter whether you invest in India or whether you invest in United States, the investor should be indifferent, which means that both in terms of an interest rate, no matter that absolute changes are there, but at the end of the day, the benefit that you are receiving in terms of the value should not be different. In one word, that arbitrage should not happen, because the moment an arbitrage will start to operate, there is a lot of changes that we get to see in terms of the exchange rate, right? So how, what should be the proper, when we are saying that 81 per dollar forward rate was problematic, because of that there's a lot of arbitrage that was happening. So accordingly, IRP say that what should be the forward rate. So IRP gives you a formula for that, and we, in order to understand that is, we are again using the same example what we have discussed. So here, if you can see, I said that 100,000 in India, this is an in India, so I'll just write India, and this is the interest rate in United States, should be equal to the forward rate divided by the spot rate. What does that mean? That here we know everything. 100,000 was a corpus that we are investing in India at 10%, in United States at 6%. Spot rate also we know. So if I ask that, do I know this is spot rate? Yes, we do know. We know this is spot rate, which was 80 in our example. And what do you want? I wanted to calculate the forward rate because the forward rate of 81 was a problematic. So everything I know, I only do not know the FR. If I just put a question mark here, FR, this is what we can calculate with the use of this formula. So here you can see that what will be the FR. So FR, if you're going to calculate, you're going to get a value of 83.01 with this, right? So it will be the value that you'll be calculating. It is FR will be 83.01. This is the total final value that you might be getting. So let me explain you that what I'm trying to say. So I'm trying to say that in India, if I have 100,000 and I'm going to get 10% on it, how much that amount is going to be? That amount is going to be 110,000 after 1 year. But think about it, if I have borrowed from India, converted that into dollars, and again that dollars further get converted into my Indian rupees, this means I'm trying to explore the options of an arbitrage. So if I'm doing that in India, if you get to see, my total return in dollars will be 1325 after detouring. And if I do that there in, say, in United States, so my 100,000, I'm going to convert my 100,000 at today's price, and I'm going to invest in United States at 6%. I'm going to get 1325. This 1325 I have logged myself so that I may get in Indian rupees. So in Indian rupees, it is still again boiling down to 110,000. So 110,000 in India or 110,000 in United States. In both the situation, neither Indian investor will move to US nor US investor will move to India. And in that way, interest rate parity will be there because there is no arbitrage. And when there is no arbitrage, so you will say that the currency, it is free from any sort of an the high volatility that is there. In reality, it is very difficult to get on to this part of it, but this is one of the theory which really explains that because of the interest rate between two countries, there is an effect which you get to see on the currency for an exchange. And I have one question here also for you to solve. This is a final formula that how do we solve this. So here we say it is a foreign, and here it is a domestic. Sometimes a student get confused that, okay, which one to assume, like in this example of India and United States, which one should I assume it as a foreign and which one should I assume it as a domestic. So there is a golden rule for it. That rule is an interest rate differential analysis. And this rules say that wherever the country with a higher interest rate might be considered as foreign currency, and the country with lower interest rate will be always be considered as a domestic currency. So if I just say in our example, India was 10% and United States was 6%. So which one should I assume? So the country which is having a higher, so I will assume this as foreign, and I will assume this as domestic. And if I just rewrite 1 plus r and 1 plus r, which one is, this one is going to be foreign and this one is going to be domestic, is equal to FR divided by SR, right? This is what we have done. So I'm going to write it as higher, foreign one is higher, so 1.10 divided by 1.06. That's what it is. So hope this will help you in order to identify that what should I put it as numerator. So in numerator, always a higher interest rate, you will always consider that as an is in a numerator, and a lower interest rate, consider that as a domestic and put that in a denominator. So here is a question. You can see that a spot rate 80, interest rate in India is 15, interest rate in United States 10%, calculate forward rate. So again, the same question of foreign, what was foreign and what was domestic. We are going to consider India as in foreign, this one as domestic. Why that is in foreign? Because a higher interest rate we are going to consider as in foreign. In numerator, we always write that as in foreign. So if you'll simplify this, you will get your 1 year forward rate as 83.63. Hope that helps. Thank you.